and justice for all.
Thank you. So the first item on our agenda is the discussion of the proposed town of Georgia development regulations with the revised draft. So Doug, do you want to start with any changes that you're aware of, or you want us to run down through the changes?
However you want to do it. If you want me to run through them, I can run through them and put them up on the screen.
Yeah, why don't you do
That way
that?
you can use the screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're gonna hold off on public comment and just walk through what the select board has already proposed to Doug, individually.
So the select board put a lot of time into reviewing this. And has put together some proposed changes that I've added to this, so we'll start going through them. So let's go with 1-2. So under 1-2, under the applicability of regulations, all right. One, changing the word most to least, which does have, to be up there, right? So right here, so should any provision of these regulations conflict with any other provision of these regulations, the least restrictive provision shall apply. Do you want to do comments as you go along, or?
So we're gonna save the comments till the end, and we'll start with the select board, and then we'll go to the audience once the select board has made their.
So 2-2. E, changing the parcels, so it's E1 down to the bottom of the page here. Changing that from at least 60 to 45%. Going to 2-3. So the zoning district allowing a use allowed in one zoning district, which a lot lies but prohibited in another, can extend up to a maximum of 200 feet. So changing the 100 to 200 feet. 2-6. So the purpose of the district, this has kind of been changed here quite a bit. So changing that, the primary purpose, so the new wording for this would be the primary purpose of the AR district is to provide a place in Georgia for agricultural and silviculture uses. The goals and policies of the town plan encourage higher density development in other areas of the town. Residential and other uses permitted in this district should be designed to allow for consolidated residential developments while preserving the agricultural and rural nature of the district, and should not place an unreasonable burden on the town's ability to provide and maintain town services to all residents. It is a policy of the town not to allow strict developments in this district. Land should be developed so that large continuous expanses of agricultural, forestry, significant geological areas, wildlife habitat, scenic areas, and other important open space will be protected. And then under 2.2.3 district requirements, removing both B, and D. So B being areas with slopes of 25% or greater shall not be developed. And D, which is street trees or shrubs shall be required along Route 7 unless waived by the DRB.
Also,
Changing, sorry, I missed one. Also an A, changing the shall to may. So a lot of the changes in these district requirements, you're gonna see kind of the same thing where the 25% slope, the trees have been eliminated, and a lot of the shells have been changed to may. My guess on this is to allow the DRB some more freedom in their decision making. 2-7. So here is in the dimensional requirements for the AR district. So this would be changing the current 5-acre zoning district to a 2-acre zoning district in the AR. Multi-tenant housing for older persons going from 5 to 2, and also changing the campgrounds from 10 to 5. And then the setbacks, basically just trying to make the setbacks work for a 2 acre lot. Changing setbacks from 40 feet to 20 feet, 75 feet, to 50 foot. And then also under note 2, for up to 4 dwellings, and then 1/8 of an acre for each additional housing, so going from 1/4 an acre down to 1/8 of an acre. 2.8.
Did you miss add cottage courts?
Oh, sorry, yes, sorry. Add cottage courts. So, and that would be 2 acre. 2.8. Once again, removing the street trees and shrubs and the 25%. So. That's the one for that section. 2.9. So in 2.9, we once again be adding cottage courts. Changing campgrounds from 10 acres to 5 acres. And also changing note 2 from 1/4 acre to 1/8 acre. 10. Same thing, once again, deleting A, the street trees and shrubs. And also F, the slopes greater than 25%. And also in section B, changing the shall to may. In 2.11, so this is the residential neighborhood district. Adding cottage courts to this district. And also changing the campgrounds from 10 acres to 5 acres and going from 1/4 acre to 1/8 acre for extra additional dwelling units. On that note. We're going to 212. 12, so once again deleting A, which is the street trees and shrubs. Section D and section E changing shells to may. And then section F, deleting section F, which is the same, slopes greater than 25%. 2.13. This is the residential village, just adding cottage courts to that requirement. 2.14. Which is the lakefront district. Removing A, the 25%, and on E, changing shall to may. 2.15. On 2.15, so this is lakefront districts requirements. Changing shoreline setback from 50 feet to 10 feet. Changing campground acres from 10 acres to 5 acres, which then also changes the lake road frontage to 100 feet, front yard setbacks to 30, setbacks to 20, and rear setbacks to 20. Adding the marinas with a front yard setbacks of 30 and the shoreline setback of 10, and adding a commercial youth camp at 1/2 acre. Here, and then also deleting note 6. So 50 feet or closer, whichever is larger, that's handled up above. 2.16 Lakeview District. So in the purpose of the district, removing the last sentence where it said there are some severe limitations in development in this district due to soil conditions and slopes, and thus density in this district should be low. So removing that line, also removing A, the 25% or more slope. Going to 2.17, which is the dimensional standards for this district, so going from 2 acres to 1 acre. Changing the front yard setback to 50 feet and the rear setback to 20 feet. Campgrounds going from 10 acres to 5 acres. Also. The frontage to 150 feet, the front yard setback to 150 feet. This is for the campgrounds. Side yards and rear yard 50 feet. And then commercial youth camp going from 5 to 2.5. And then changing those numbers across there, so that would be 100 feet, 75 feet, 35 and 35. 18. In the purpose of the district, removing car washes and drive-throughs, crossing those out of that district. 2.83 district requirements, on the other side, changing the shell to a may. Changing this shell to a may, and also removing the 25% greater, the trees, shrubs section. 219, most of the changes are 2 and 3, so. 219 dimensional standards, so this is the business hamlet district, this is the new district, that's kind of right out here. Changing it from 2 acres to 1 acre, also then changing the setbacks to 30 feet, 20 and 20 feet. Adding cottage courts to this section. And then also changing note 2, so things are staying consistent, so 1/4 acre to 1/8 acre. 20. We're needing section B, which is the trees and shrubs. Go to 221. So this is the business district, adding cottage courts to this district. Changing the campgrounds from 10 acres to 5 acres and the dog breeder from 5 acres to 2 acres. And then we go right to 232. 2-32.
2-22.
42.
Oh, didn't I just be?
No.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Section B. Oh, right here, changing the shall to a may, and then under the village core standards, section 2. Franchise architecture is defined in Article 10 shall be prohibited, deleting that section. 232. 232. Actually, this should be 230. Oh, no, it's not. So changing the building height or deleting the building height altogether. And then changing the lot coverage from 75% to 95% and deleting note 2 altogether. 95, yes.
I just don't agree. Sorry.
Yep. And then deleting note 2 altogether. 233. 233, so deleting section D, which is the slopes once again. And then this table at the bottom, changing 20 acres to 10 acres. And then as we go across here, 150 feet, 75 feet, 30 feet, and 30. Section 3.3. Right. That's weird. So in this section, the dwelling, cottage court. So permitted with a site plan in AR, NR, and LB. So that disappeared.
Where is it?
Here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it PS?
yeah, that's weird.
No.
Yeah.
NR.
AR, NR, and LV.
They're all PSs.
They're all PSs. Yep.
Doug, where are you?
Page 3.3.
Okay. They're not on there. Everything else has been.
Yeah, no, I don't know. So, dwelling seasonal conversion. Should also be permitted in AR, R, RN, RV, VC, B, BHI, and NR. So basically all of these.
Your new text that you would add.
All of
in.
them?
Yes,
Yeah, it's not in mine either, but.
no, it's not in there and I need to fix that.
Whoops.
So B4, so they're on there. So brewery. So making a conditional use with a site plan in AR, R, and LV. Agribusiness, adding conditional use with a site plan in NR. Sorry, I did that backwards. Brew pub. Conditional use site plan in AR, R, LF, and LV. Adding the car washes conditional use in R and BH.
You gotta slow down a little.
Sorry.
I
Right there.
I got
Yep.
food pub, but yeah, I can't see through another bird. Just, I was trying to keep up.
Actually, here.
You're reading them about as fast as you go. or-
Suzanne, just take this one right here.
Here. I'm on the right page. I just
Right.
flipped ahead a little bit. So we should be on page 3, 4.
Earth extraction, adding as a conditional, the site plan in NR. Kennel dog breeder, adding that as conditional in NR. Marina, adding that as conditional in LV. Motor vehicle sales. Adding that as permitted in ARR and then permitted in B, BH, and I. Museum, permitted with a site plan in AR. And nursing home, conditional use with a site plan in AR. H35. Professional services, conditional use in AR. Recreation, private outdoor, conditional use in AR. Restaurant sit down permitted in R, LF, and LV. Restaurant takeout conditional in R and permitted in LF and LV with a site plan. Restaurants drive through, conditional in R, RV, and BH. And then retail stores permitted in AR. Roadside stands permitted in all districts. Sales lots permitted with a site plan in AR and R, just permitted in BH. Seasonal mobile food units, adding that it's permitted in all districts. Short-term rentals permitted in all districts except for industrial, which is conditional use with a site plan. Down here at the bottom, veterinary clinic. Conditional use or with a site plan in NR as well as industrial. Veterinary hospital, conditional use with a site plan in everything except LF and LV. And youth camp commercial, adding that as a conditional in recreation section. Sorry, there's our residential. And 1, 2, 3, 6, deleting cemetery altogether.
So what does that mean? We're not gonna allow any more cemeteries? We're just not gonna tell people where they can have them. We'll let the DRB guess where they should be. I don't really know where.
So we're gonna hold public comment until he's done reading through them. We
Okay,
can save that for that, please.
Federal and state facilities, conditional and NR. Parking facilities, conditional in all districts. Places of worship, basically ends up being permitted with a site plan in all districts. Recreation, public indoor, conditional in RV. Recreation, public outdoor, conditional in RV. Schools, private, conditional with a site plan in all districts. Wildlife preserve, conditional in both AR and R. And then under, this is the cannabis section, wholesale storage, conditional in AR, R, permitted in BH. Product manufacturing, conditional in AR, conditional in BH. And retailer, conditional in AR. Yeah. So under, this is under accessory dwelling units, removing the section for owner occupied. From that. And then in section F, changing shall to may. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Changing the hours of operation, so they match, so it's going from 8 AM to 7 AM. 312. Deleting the home shall have no signs. Top section. Number 2, removing no more than 1,500 square feet of. Number 3, removing 6 square feet and changing that to 10 square feet. And then under 3315, there's just a typo in non-residents and should be have a dash in there. 313. Number 3, changing shall to may. It's the only one that made. 314. So 314 under G had a section with question marks. Actually, that section should be pointing to parking regulations, which is section 5.5 parking requirements. So it's, instead of the section question marks parking regulations, just say section 5.5 parking. 315. So under motor vehicle repair, sales and fuel stations, removing the whole last section of under A where pump islands, pump air compressors, recharging stations and other service areas shall be located on the side or rear of the station building. And then under B, removing that whole section altogether. 316. Under multi-tenant housing for older persons, add, and it was, you had it added as, add disabled, word disabled to that as well. And then this figure down here is getting removed altogether.
This right here, you approve they're adding disabled to it,
Oh,
and then getting rid of that.
317. So section B on 317. Which is actually down here at the bottom of 317, so it's under the recreational camping vehicles for sleeping quarters. So it's on 317 and it goes all the way through 318. So deleting that section and then replacing that with, this is, might get a little wordy. A legally registered recreational vehicle may be placed on an undeveloped lot and uses for limited seasonal occupancy provided it is not considered a structure under section C below and it meets the following requirements. And Suzanne, this is going to be labeled in your section there. It shall be occupied seasonally, i.e. for less than 180 days between May 1st and November 30th, and no more than 60 days between November 1st and May 31st. It shall meet all applicable setback standards for the primary structure in the district in which it is located. There is not more than one recreational vehicle per lot. Such uses do not conflict with any other provision of these regulations or any other applicable regulations. And then C. An RV becomes a structure whose useful occupancy requires a potable water supply and wastewater system, as well as a municipal permit when one of the following actions occurs. providing skirting or insulation around the base, placing the RV unit on a foundation or removing the wheels, attaching a deck or stairs to the RV, making the RV immobile in any way that inhibits the RV from being driven off the lot in order to fill the water holding tank and emptying the wastewater holding tank. This includes not removing snow so the RV can be driven off the lot. 5, failure to drive the RV off the lot for filling the water holding tank and emptying it into a wastewater holding tank. 6, the unit also qualifying as an RV cannot travel over Vermont roads without a special permit. And 7, occupying an RV that is not registered and inspected to travel the roads. And then D, change it to the following: a lot of land containing more than 3 campsites occupied for vacation or recreational purposes by camping units such as tents, yurts, teepees, lean-tos, camping cabins, and recreational vehicles, including motorhomes, folding camping trailers, conventional travel trailers, fifth wheel travel trailers, truck campers, van campers, commercial vehicles, designed and used for travel, recreation, and camping is considered a campground and falls under the regulations of a campground. Almost all of that language comes to, it all comes directly from A&R, just so everybody's clear on that. So now we're going to 321. Retail store, under retail store 32325, removing A, the exterior display of sales or goods are not permitted without prior approval of the board. So that's being removed. And then C, adding to that service shed sales and sales lots to the end of this.
The service comma or service shed?
I had service comma shed sales, sales lots. Is that correct?
It's home sales and service, comma, shed sales or sales lots, so it matches your definition.
Okay. Now we're gonna jump all the way to 5.2. Under 5.2. 5.3.1. At its adequacy of landscaping and screening, changing particular to neutral. I'm going to page 5.5. On this one here, changing the seating for places of worship. So one, right now it's currently 1 per every 4 seats, changing that 1 to every 3 seats. Page 5.8. So public sidewalks. Here we're going to be under section 3. Delete this line where it says the standard should not apply to the existing People's Trust property. Has a span number in it, the Village Core District, due to the existing sidewalk that so deleting that whole line section in there. And there we go to 5.17. So 5.5.1 D2. Going from 16 square feet to 25 square feet. And under 5.112. Changing 6 square feet to 10 square feet. And 6.11. Right at the bottom of the page under local exemptions, changing the height from 10 feet or less to 15 feet or less. 6.13. Delete under general standards for approval, deleting 1, which is the proposed land development should not result in an undue adverse effect on the capacity of the existing or planned community facilities. And deleting 5, which is the proposed land development shall not result in an undue adverse effect on the utilization of renewable energy sources. Jumping to 621. Changing will to may. In the first paragraph. Adding to the end after resources where possible, the words where possible. In F. Open space land 1. Changing the word parent to developed, so it would read developed parcel, not parent parcel. And changing 50 acres to 20 acres, so going from no more than 50 acres down to no more than 20 acres. And then F2, changing the shall to a may. Oh, sorry, changing the shall to a can, sorry. My bad, it's on the other page. 622. Section 3. After clearly marked where it said with fence or boulders, adding marking can be done with fence, boulders, shrubs, or other methods approved by the DRB. Another change shelf in there, where is that one? Oh, right there at the top, so under 6. Under G, sorry, legal requirements for open space, the shall to may. Also in perpetuity, adding to after perpetuity, adding or no less than 15 years. And after deed restriction, add as determined by the DRB. 623. So the DRB may request input from the Georgia Conservation. I have that as being a deleted section. 625. Okay. So under 6.7 density bonus, changing 150% to 250%. Under A1 at the top of the next column, changing 50% to 100%. Under B1, which is the energy efficient siting, changing 25% to 100%. Under B2, changing 50% to 100%. And under C, changing 50% to 100%. 626. Section 1, changing 75% to 100%. And then under section 2, deleting that and replacing it with the DRB with the approval of the select board may accept community recreation area parcels to be donated to the town of Georgia to be openly accessible to the public during daylight hours, readily visible from the public way, clearly marked as available to members of the public, provide community recreation amenities suitable and accessible to a range of ages and abilities, and provide adequate shade trees and seating areas, as well as other amenities as may be required by the DRB. The DRB may allow further density bonuses or use of the community recreation area as a replacement for commercial offset in the VC district. In the VC district, the community recreation area should be of size and scope to offset the commercial requirement for the development. So now we're going here to 10, which is definitions. Almost done. So under the definition section, there's a couple of things that needed to be cleaned up from previous, like flowering plants should have been in there. Adding dwelling, well, I'm just gonna add the definition. Adding dwelling, cottage court, which we didn't have a definition for, which would be a type of residential development featuring a cluster of small detached houses arranged around a shared courtyard or common area. These developments are often designed with a community and walkability in mind, with the shared courtyard serving as a focal point and a place for residents to interact. And then it breaks down these small detached homes, shared courtyards, community focus, missing middle housing, potential for affordability, variety of uses, textual design. On page 1012. Under. Under home industry. Changing the number of full-time equivalent employees from 3 to 5. And then in page 1013, industrial, there's some issues with the, just the way it's flowing that needs to fix. So no changes of wording, just there's some spacing issues in that section. And 1015 under mixed use, there's a typo in here that's just within the same, got repeated. Just need to fix that. Under 1017. Adding a definition for the word office, which is a room, set of rooms or a building used as a place of commercial, professional, or bureaucratic work. And then under parking space, removing the word private. Which I think was another one that was older done. And then on page 1018, adding professional services. Which would read specialized knowledge-based services that are provided by individuals or firms with expertise in a specific field. These services often require advanced training, certification, or qualifications and are typically delivered in industries such as law, accounting, consulting, engineering, or informational technology. Essentially, they involve providing advice, expertise, or support rather than physical products. That is it.
Thank you, Doug. So thank you to the planning commission, Colleen, Doug, I feel for all your hard work on that. Does the select board have any comment on those changes, proposed changes?
Quite a lot of work.
Mhm. Paul, Brian, Kelly?
So I just had a couple, and one of them's just clarification. So on section 5.5,
Page number, yeah.
page 5.5, 5-5.
Okay.
And it's just table 5.1.
Yep.
How do we arrive at these?
So there is some guidance that's out there on this.
Okay,
The reason for the change of place of worship is we actually just, the DRB is currently working on one. We found the numbers aren't working. So, in the particular one that we're working on, the 4 seats isn't even close to the amount of parking that they need. So, tried to kind of make a little bit of a shift there. It still doesn't quite meet the need of that one, but I think it probably meets the need of some of them, most of them. But a lot of these I think are pulled over from the old regs. But when I went back through and did some research on these, I found some information that kind of outlined the same type of thing. So it's kind of a guidance for when you're dealing with these to figure the number of parking spaces that they're going to need.
okay. Let's see. Where else did page 512. D1. Dealing with the private roads. Just wondering how this is going to affect people within the town of Georgia. As far as the, having to bring it up to A76 standards, if there's 3 or more dwellings already on the road.
This has been in for quite a while.
People got to do it already. This isn't new.
Right. We haven't, I would say in the last 2 years at least, we've made sure everybody was at A76 paving for private roads. But pretty much before that, everything had been paved. I actually went around and measured the private roads in town to see where they were at, and almost all of them are at this level. There are some that are not at this level.
But close, right?
Well, some are close, some are not.
Some are not close at
Some are
all.
not.
Some are not close. I think, you know, I know of one that's like, so A76 is 24 foot, paved. I know there's a couple
With a
that are
certain base.
16 foot
With a certain base.
with a, yeah, so it's a 2-inch base paving requirement. There are some that are, there's a couple that I know of that are 16 foot, there's some that are like 18 to 20 feet. But most are at that 24 foot. And really the pushback on that came from where we're sitting, the fire department, because the trucks are all getting bigger. They need to pass when they're going into these. We eliminated a lot of the stuff around road length and all of that, because we're at 24 feet, the trucks can pass, we don't need required pull-offs. That used to be, so we used to have in the book, you know, you could do a 16 or 18 foot, but then you'd have to have a pull-off every 400 feet, so vehicles could pass. Those never get cleaned out in the winter, there's a lot of issues around that, so just keeping it 24 feet, and it makes it, so at any point in the future, if the town wants to take it over, it's at the standards that the town wants.
So then piggyback on that, on 513, section B, private roads. 1 and 3 are conflicting then, in my eyes, 1 and 3. So you're saying, well, not completely, but you're saying all accesses servicing 3 or more dwellings have to be A76, but then all other private roads have to be at least a minimum of 2 inches. So what is it? Is
Which
it,
is I think that's in the A76 standard, which is in here.
Yes.
It's a driveway unless there's 3. It's considered a driveway unless there's 3.
there's,
Over 3.
Right, once you go to three houses. Or 3 duplexes,
okay,
because now you can do a duplex everywhere, or 2 houses in a building lot.
okay,
Then you would have to go to the A76 standard. If it's 2, then you only have to do the driveway standards, which are B71.
okay, that makes, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Then I just have a general question about on 622. The whole concept of open space. The legal requirements for open space. And again, I'm just trying to get myself up to speed on these kind of things, but coming from a farming background, and, you know, if I was to own a large farm and I was restricted to giving open space if I subdivide with no compensation,
You're not giving it, you could still own it.
but you're requiring it to be remaining open space. Correct?
If you're just taking a lot off, then no, but yes, if you're putting in a PUD, yes.
Okay,
So the concept is not to have, so instead of taking, let's say you're in a 2-acre zoned area and you've got 10 acres.
mhm,
Instead of making 5 2-acre lots,
mhm,
you're gonna cluster the housing in one section.
Yep.
And leave the rest as open space.
Yep.
So that you have more continuous open space parcels, more land that's open, and everybody has their house, but on a much smaller parcel.
okay. That, yeah,
And but they're still using that same amount of land as they would have for the 5 houses,
okay,
so.
that's all I have. Carl?
Kelly brought up the, D, 512 and 513. And I'm just wondering, it kind of reads contradictory to me. Private roads that have not been constructed to meet the private road standard, in section 5.7, may only serve access to 3 dwellings, blah, blah, blah. So it's 3. Then you come over here, all access serving 3 or more dwelling units.
Yes,
Should be greater than, greater
it should
than
be
3.
2 because.
Should be 2.
When we go to 3, that's when we.
Or
prepare
4. One's 3.
Right, it
one's
should
4.
be, yeah, it should be two dwelling, or, yeah, 2 dwelling units, or. I did make a change there, so maybe we did this wrong. But more than three, so the bottom.
They just contradict each other.
Where's that? That's right.
So B 513B.
Right, so it should
say
be-
all access serving 4 or more dwelling units.
No, this should be two. That right there should read 2 dwelling units,
In
2 duplexes, or 2 building lots. It should, that's my fault. I made a change.
Which
because I did
which one are
change
you
the-
changing?
Which one are
The
you
top
changing?
one.
what section?
512.
512 D.
E1, so it should be 2, 2 and 2.
Yeah,
2, 2 and 2.
And right at the bottom, it is correct. The last sentence of that
yeah,
says. More than 3 dwelling units has to be constructed A76.
That should be 3 or.
It says private roads
Three or
with more than 3 dwelling units, 3 duplexes or lots must be constructed to
Oh, yeah, it should
876.
be 3 or more, not more than 3.
Well. You have over here. Yeah, I should agree.
That,
Agree with it.
3 or more.
3 or more.
3 or more.
yeah, it's at the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
more than
In
3.
3
one.
It should be 3 or more. At the bottom of D1, Brian.
Yeah.
Good catch.
So
So Doug, I have kind of a housekeeping item. So on page 6-5, which is where we reference the short-term rentals and the well, short-term rental licenses and
Yep.
the mobile food units. So we're changing those over to ordinances, which are in process. So how do we handle that if the ordinance isn't in place before we approve your zoning regs? I just wanna make sure we're gonna have that lined up correctly, because I know the short-term rental is currently with legal.
Yep.
You haven't posted anything about it, so we're gonna have a delay there. I just wanna make sure our timing is appropriate and we don't have a mismatch between your regs and any ordinances we may be putting in place, and what the proper approach is for that.
I think this seasonal conversion will probably be fine. I think you're gonna be pretty close on that. You'll probably be within 30 days on that happening. For a short-term rental, oh, sorry. The other one we hadn't really discussed, the seasonal mobile food units, so I wasn't sure. We haven't started the ordinance on that. I wasn't sure, I think from the last meeting, if that was something you guys even wanted to do. And like, there was some discussion there. So that part, but that one hasn't even been started yet, so I don't, if you wanna do that one, then I can move forward with that one. We can also not have it in there until the ordinance goes in, and then we can make an amendment to this.
What I had recommended, since we weren't sure how the timing of these two things were gonna hit reality. I had recommended that we start both of those sections with the license required language, which says a license is required to operate in accordance with the town of Georgia short-term rental ordinance. If such an ordinance doesn't exist yet, then they're off the hook.
No harm.
No harm.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah,
Okay.
Once the ordinance takes effect, then everything works, but we might have this
that makes sense.
in between bullet stage where it doesn't make sense, but that way you don't have to go back and edit it later on. So
Okay.
that's why I suggested that.
Yep, that makes sense.
Good solution, good.
Any other comments from the select board? Hearing none, we'll open it up to the public. I'm gonna request that you clearly state your name and wait to be addressed by the chair of the select board. And then, we'll give you each 3 to 5 minutes to, express your comments or concerns. And it came for the popcorn. Sorry.
She came to the entertainment.
Not the entertainment, the popcorn, perfect. We like that.
Next time.
Any comments online?
Nothing. Oh, this is. Yay.
I have a comment. I don't know how to do it.
Oh, you're good,
There you
Kim.
go.
You're there.
Okay, thank you. I was trying to figure out this iPad. Hey, so I'm Kim Arrow, Kim and Brad Arrow, and we're at 1091 Ethan Allen Highway, and we're still trying to figure out the whole new road thing. So I'm looking at, and I get a phone and an iPad, so I get small screens for my eyes. I believe it's 2.26. I'm looking at the section 4, number 4, building a safe public road network. Now, I've been told that the map, if you scroll down to the next couple of pages that was shown at the last meeting, is not, it should be taken out, but I still see the map being put into all these meetings. The map shows Village Core, which is me, Route 7, and I don't know if you remember, but last meeting, I asked to have my comment that I wanted, no, we don't give permission for roads to be on or near our property. And I wanted it in the minutes, and I haven't found where that is yet. But as I'm reading about this, and I'm looking at, I believe it was number 2, when existing and planned land uses on the vicinity, and they're talking about basically the future of the streets and what you guys can basically do to our property. What I want is I need to have something so clear that I understand from you guys what it is that you can do. Like when you're talking about roads to put through our property, I mean, it's wetland. The Fairbanks property is all wet, so we know that. But what I don't want to do is have just streets put in through our property and as I used the word last meeting, devalue our property. And it just seems like when I keep reading all of these, it says the future road layout or any master street plan of official maps, right-of-ways, width shall conform with the select board and all that. I guess I'm just so not clear on your ideas of what you want to do with that little orange section, the village core, with my property. And I need you guys to be able to put it as blatant as you can so I can understand this. So I don't keep looking at that same map that I have been told the map was supposed to be removed from the June 24th meeting, and it's still in this meeting. So I'm just,
So no, I'm gonna correct you. It has been removed.
okay, well, it's still, if you look under, it's on number 2, zoning districts, village core. That's the map.
What page are you on?
What page are you on, Kim?
See, I'm on a phone, so I don't know. Is 2.28, does that make sense?
2-28. There are no
Yeah.
maps on
All
that
right,
page.
so I must be on the
You must
it's
be on the
the
old.
zoning district village core. Am I on the wrong page?
No, I
So
think you're
at
on the
the-
old version.
At the bottom of the page,
Yeah,
be a version in red. So like the one I'm looking at is proposed regulations version 2.4, July 7th of 2025.
okay, no, I have the wrong one. So how do I get to that one? Because I was looking at it on Georgia Development Regulations, supporting documents.
It's on the website. It should
Yeah, I'm
be
on the website.
You can take out though the conceptual future road layout that stays there.
Well, there are roads
Right.
that we are looking at doing, but they don't happen until the lots get developed.
Right.
So,
I just didn't know if that had to open up, that's why.
no,
Well, you don't take people's property.
right,
It's built in road.
right.
So how can, so you guys, then how do I find out information of that? Because I mean, not that I don't trust this, but you know, I'm not feeling very confident as a landowner that you guys you're not gonna put like right-of-ways through our properties and things like that.
So Kim, there's 2 things.
Uh-huh.
One is it's on the spotlight, so you can go and it's the very first one. It's version 2.4.
Okay, hold on. Yep, that's one I thought I was on, but all right.
And so that map has been removed. And as far as we can't take your property from you, we would have to purchase a right of way from you. So you would have to agree to it. It's not something that we can just say, we're gonna take it.
No,
Yeah.
I get that. But my thought is, from the last meeting, I was kind of under the impression that they were gonna put in, like, I remember Susanna Brown saying that we will just ask nicely to the new owners, can we put roads through or on your property? And I thought it was more like you guys were gonna put in like a right of way, like you guys were gonna put in on that zoning thing. So if I go sell
Can't
my
do it.
property,
No,
can't
we
do
can't do it.
It's
You
a-
cannot,
That's
so you,
illegal.
okay, that makes perfect sense for me, because I was like, how can the town do that? Just all of a sudden
No,
say,
we can't.
We can't,
You can't.
we
well, you
can't.
guys, do you
Rest
remember the
assured you're good.
conversation, Brian, where you're saying that this was gonna increase the value of our property and so forth? And I couldn't figure out what it was. I guess it just confused me.
And Doug is willing to print you a new copy of, or there's actually a copy right here. You can go pick it up at the town clerk's office.
Yeah, I got it now. Thank you, Chris. But I just
Okay.
was confused that I don't want anywhere if I go to sell my property, I guess all I want to know is that if you or somebody else wants to buy my property, that there's not going to be a clause somewhere that says, oh, by the way, the town is going to take this and do right away through here or roads through that. So as long as I
Right.
hear it from you guys, I'm recording it, I feel very comfortable.
Okay, good. Nope, we cannot do that. So
Thank you,
rest
Chris.
assured you're safe.
All right, I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other comments, from online?
No.
No? In the public?
Ready?
It's Susanna Brown.
Alright. Let's start on page, I got one for that is. Let's start on page 222.
Do what?
222.
Okay.
2-2.
So this is village core. It's interesting that we go through our document and make sure that our language says shall, not may, because may is very vague, and now we've reversed them all to mays. This is one I kind of feel strongly about because it's what our village is gonna look like. And when you say they can have an interesting storefront, well, that's true anywhere. But they don't have to have one now, they can just put up a big square metal box. And it's okay in the village core based on how this is written now. And I feel like, you know, if we want our village to look attractive, then we want some kind of controls on that so that we don't end up with big metal boxes.
So under,
Or fake windows that fall off like they have on the Dollar General in Fairfax. I mean, they literally peeled off when the sun hit them. But that was pretty lame looking, you know?
It's better looking than the one in Georgia. Not saying it's great, but it's definitely better looking than the one in Georgia.
so under B2, that shall didn't get changed.
No, it
Oh, you
didn't.
said it did?
No,
No.
That one
No.
didn't.
no, it didn't.
Oh, it didn't. You just took out the franchise.
Just took out the red
Yeah,
days.
Yeah,
Um,
everything else is.
I thought I
No.
down, I was trying to keep up with that, so it's probably pages behind.
And
Okay.
just on another note, Stacy and I were just at a meeting where they were having the same conversation about shells. And they recommended we no longer use shall and instead use must.
Use one?
Must, so must or may, not shall. So buildings must have an interesting instead
Oh,
of shall.
okay.
That's the new verbiage from the lawyers.
Don't worry, it'll go back to Shell in 20 years.
I mean, it's up to you guys if you wanna change that one, but that was the feedback we just got from them when writing ordinances.
What's they
and
looking for
everything like
a
that.
reasoning?
Who knows?
Just for
It's the
curiosity.
interpretation of
They
shall
gotta make
now.
some
That's how they
money
make
somehow.
money.
Shell is probably being reprimanded versus must.
It's
It's
so they can
vague.
argue.
Shall isn't a
Vague.
requirement anymore, so don't start with the commandments, but yeah. Apparently it's optional. I don't know.
So, so must has a less.
I guess it's
strict-
less vague.
Strict,
Less vague, more strict.
Yeah.
or more strict,
More-
shall has way more strict, okay.
More demanding.
Okay. But, so shall between may and must is between shall and may.
I'm just throwing it out there, that was the
Okay,
feedback we
I
just
guess,
got from
I
them.
just,
Thanks for that.
yeah, thanks, Doug.
Okay, Doug, go ahead and change all the shells to must.
Do a must on there.
Okay, sorry.
That's
All
not
right,
easy to
on
change.
page 232. We took out note 2, which said side and rear yard setback shall be 220 feet from Deerbrook and Arrowhead Mountain Lake.
Dictated by the state, right?
Those are Yeah, those are impaired waterways, so it has to be 200, and we put the 220, because what happens is. In their process of developing, they go into the setback with their equipment while they're developing, if they can develop right up to that 200 line, so we put the 20 feet in there, so. They wouldn't,
So could we, instead of doing the 220 or the 200 feet, this. The side and rear yard setback shall be in compliance with state regulations?
That could work.
we could, I just feel like people need to know, those are the only impaired waterways in our town right now. And I just think that developers probably should know that. And I know some real estate agents are going to bring that to their attention and some are not. So they're gonna come in with an idea and then find out, oh my God, I gotta have 200-foot setback instead of the 50 or the 100 they thought they had to have. So it kind of brings it to their attention when they're looking through the regs to see what they can do, but.
So my only thought is if the state changes their regulation. In 5 years, we still have these regs. Obviously, the state regs are gonna take over, but wouldn't it be easier just to say be in compliance with state regulations if we put that back in?
Oh, and maybe we could put a note saying, Deerbrook and Arrowhead Mountain Lake are currently impaired.
Yeah,
So that they would know that there's something special with those.
I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good catch. Before we go forward, can we go back to page 27?
Nope, we're not going back. We're rolling forward.
Next page, I wanted to go.
Okay, yeah, I wanna look at that page real quick here. Two what?
27.
-7,
Yeah. So this is the AR.
that's the AR.
Sorry, just finishing fixing that one. Oh, they are.
Yes, and we're proposing to change the minimum lot size from 5 acres to 2 acres. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's what they proposed, yes.
I don't love that.
Neither do I.
We-
I feel like we took our town and we increased the amount of density greatly in the entire town, for the most part, that if we're trying to protect our farmland, and that's a, scenic vistas and having it be an agricultural town seems important to some of the people that live here in the survey that we did, then it seems like this is counterintuitive to that. That, we've already doubled the density in most other districts, if not more than that, let that play out and see where it goes before we take farm.
Really tried to leave AR alone.
That you added a lot of uses to AR. I feel like it's very similar to all the other districts now. It doesn't stand alone as being protected for farming. Sure, you can have a retail store. Well, that's more traffic and more, and it's like the poor farmers already have to deal with it enough that we want to leave their area a little bit more protected, in my opinion.
So I understand what you're saying, Susanna. I'm from a farming background and in this town, about 35 years ago, the town turned their zoning to a 5-acre zone. And from 35 years to now,
In AR, you mean?
yep,
No, it was much sooner. 35 years ago, it was 10,
about 88, I believe it was.
it was 10 acres back then.
And
But anyway,
it has been counterproductive to keeping farmscapes and scenics. We have gone from 25 approximate farms back then to 6, about 6. Some of them are even small enough that you wouldn't even count. So it leads me to believe that by doing that, you basically we're a product of helping to force farms out of business. And if your idea is to keep land, keep land open. I don't agree that that works either. Still at the 5 acre zoning, because a farmer can just blotch it all up, and then you're not gonna have agriculture. You're gonna have 5 acre lots with a house and pucker brush, and that's what we've seen happen. This is taking a different approach to saying we're going to cluster housing wherever we can cluster the housing.
But this
and
doesn't say
keep
you have
larger.
to cluster though.
This promotes it. What is done with the regs right here with PUDs, cottage courts, and the lower density of acreage you need to use is now enabled you to completely cluster and use less land.
It enables you to, but it doesn't require you to.
Yeah. But it also does take into account the people that own that land, their rights as well. They don't have to sell their land, but when and if they feel they have to sell their land as in agriculture, if there's the farms that are still there, we're still holding on to our farm because I hope to be back in agriculture one day. Right now, it's not an affordable option. I mean, show me a rich farmer and I'll show you a liar because they aren't rich. They aren't rich because they're in agriculture. They're rich, they're in agriculture because they love agriculture. It's part of their blood. And that's just, I mean, that's my feeling on the subject. I think that you did a 25 to 35 year study that didn't work. And we lost 70% of our farms in the state.
But so did this, yeah, the whole state did, it wasn't Georgia.
I know that, and that's, and that's been the same consistency throughout the state. That's the mindset that it's been. You know, when the state said, you can get away with your septic, going through the state septic problems if you do a 10 acre plot. How many 10 acre plots were done from farms so they didn't have to deal with the septic problems? That's the same scenario that's occurred. And I'm just saying, I mean, it's a different way of looking at how you continue to keep a farmscape or a scenic view in the state. You know, I mean, you used to, 25 years ago, there was black and white and browns all over the place dotting the land. And now there aren't. That means something hasn't worked. I'm not saying that it's all due to zoning regulations. But I certainly think that what has happened throughout the state with zoning regulations certainly played a big part of it. I don't, you know, I can get into other aspects of why we lost that, but it doesn't deal with the zoning regulations, so I'm not going to.
So my concern is, so now you're taking a farm
Mhm.
and the guy next to him decides he's gonna split his field up into these 2 acre lots. And he's gonna be spreading manure or haying or doing all these things that some people find offensive right next to the cluster of McMansions. You know, you've got a 20-foot setback between the house and the field with the manure being spread on it.
But they're making a
That's-
decision to buy that property, knowing that there's a.
We've been dealing with that
Doesn't
for-
mean that they're not going to complain.
True.
But that's been happening ever since there's been a farmer.
Right.
I know, but it gets worse.
It can't,
You know,
it
I mean,
isn't gonna get
if
better.
you're
It isn't gonna get better in
environment,
either way.
You're used to it, but if you come from out of state and you don't know that that farm spreads manure, you know, it's a surprise to you the day they do. And not a pleasant surprise for some.
Blames your sign is.
Well, I'm just trying to give some oversight onto the reasoning for it.
Is your contention that because of a 5 acre minimum lot size that farmers can't afford to hang on to it?
That your the land is gonna slowly just pop away anyway. So how much you want it to pop away, at a bite? In other words, every bite, do you want it to end up being, at some point, you hope that maybe at some point that agriculture takes a turn. I think things are cyclical. I really do. I believe that, we saw during the COVID time that close to food, is what people wanted. And I don't think that that's gone away now. And I think that it's gotten a little better. And I think that you've seen an uptick in smaller versions of homesteading and farms. I hope that that continues, but it's not going to continue if a farmer who has to pay his taxes every year and he's trying to hold on to that land, but only rents it and just barely pays the taxes. And now the taxes, we just set the tax rate on Monday and that's already gone up again. I mean, taxes and death, we know they don't change, they just go up. And it's always guaranteed. So it's whether you're taking a bigger bite or a smaller bite to compensate that farmer or that person that owns 400 acres or 800 acres that you're gonna do. So
Can I
that's,
ask the question real quick? Does anybody know, and Doug, maybe you do, how much of AR is in current use?
A lot, it's actually in our town, let me see if I can pull it up real quick, it is in our town plan, we have a map.
Yeah, either
there-
trust or current use,
There's a-
but then
there's quite a bit.
they're gonna have to pull out more land out of a current use, they're gonna pay a higher penalty, huge fees. So I think to allow individuals or farmers, whoever owns the land in AR2, to have that flexibility to pull out less and keep the rest of it in current use. That's the way I look at it. But that's my opinion.
And that was, when you guys brought that forward, I had the same reaction, we're going from 5 to 2. And then it's kind of a philosophical difference, it's, right now the farmers are pulling out 5 acres to pay their taxes. Maybe if they only pull 2 acres out, they're keeping the rest in the farm. And they're pulling out less, they're gonna get the same amount for the land, whether it's 2 acres or 5 acres. But that's what we're seeing, people don't want more land, they want
It's a building
smaller
lot.
lots.
It's a building
It's
lot.
a building lot. And I talked to a couple of the farmers and they thought this was a better idea. They'd rather only pull out 2 acres than 5 acres. They want to keep more land as part of the farm, but the requirements is requiring them to pull this out. And a lot of them are selling off, every year, every couple of years, they're selling off a building lot to help make ends meet. And right now we're doing 5 acres. So
And I will admit, I'm in AR with 100 acres in current use. I have a 5 acre building lot that I could pull out. I don't wanna pull out 5 acres, I don't even wanna pull out any of it, but it would be easier for me if I only had to pull out 2 and keep the rest as a natural area. That's why I have that opinion.
Well, and current use changed the rules too, I don't know if you know, but instead of what it's being used for, like ag land is usually $1,000 an acre, is what it's proposed to be used for, so if it can be used as a building lot, they're going to tax you, the 10% is on $200,000. So you're paying $20,000 instead of $4,000 to take it out of current use. So it's a huge difference.
the
For
state
people.
changed that, right?
The state changed that, right? And they only did that in the last 5 years. I think for 10 years,
No,
I don't know what it
five.
was.
Yeah.
But
Recent.
it makes a huge difference. We just found that out.
And I grew up on a farm where we had to do this in New York State.
In order to
That was my
survive.
dad's retirement, And so in some ways I totally agree with Brian and what Chris was saying.
the end result is, I think everybody's trying to conserve the farms. This is what's the better option to
What's the
do
better
it.
option?
Right.
So.
Well, I could use a little land.
And popcorn.
And popcorn, sorry.
And thank you very much.
Problem is, we got a beautiful state and everybody wants to move here.
That's the problem. That is definitely the problem.
Well, the real estate seems to have slowed down a little bit.
You think?
Yes.
Yes.
That's because the interest rate.
The other people coming in,
Well, I still need the land.
Duly noted.
Try to find some.
Only
And that's
about
just
this
the
much.
explanation that, I mean.
Yeah.
And it has been, a study for 30 years here now, and I feel it hasn't worked, it just hasn't worked. And if you go down through, right down here, Route 7, and you get, I don't know if you know where my mother's farm is. It's you know where the monument is? It sits off to the side, off to the right here, up on the hill. It's just the
Yes.
standard monument. Just below that's my mom's farm. After you clear the farm and the two houses that are my brother and my sister, you come to a row of houses. That all used to be part of the farm, but 55, 60 years ago, same thing in agriculture, you couldn't make the bill. But at that point in time, they were able to sell off 1 or 2 acre lots. And it was the most worthless land that they had available to, that they got rid of. So those houses that go right down along Route 7 there were sold off as 1 point whatever
Yeah,
acre,
there's some of-
whatever they are. Some are 1, some are 2, whatever, and and that helped pay the bill. And if it had been 5 acres, he'd have had to sold all of that, all the way up through to pay the bill. So, and I know, and I'm not, and my grandfather isn't the only one in this town that's had that happen as a farmer. That, you know, if you go around and you really look at the farms and what used to be and where there's little plots of 1 acre stuff, you can see what happened way back. And if they would have had to do it as 5 acres at the time, it still would have happened. They'd have just had a lot less land and you'd have had a lot less land to look at now.
Right. Okay.
There's a lot of, like, if you look at the 10 acre lots, when they did that, which was 10 acres to avoid the wastewater.
And that was terrible.
And, you know, the thought was probably to put the house in the middle of 10 acres and you wouldn't have any wastewater issues, except what they did is they created spaghetti lots that were 10 acres long. And all the houses sat right next to each other on the road and all the land was in the back and nobody used that land. I mean, I used to live in a 10 acres spaghetti lot and we mowed about 2 acres up front and the rest of it, we never even went on. So it, you know, and that was another area where they thought they were doing the right thing, but it just didn't work. It was, and we have a ton of lots like that that are just these weird shaped lots, so they could get the acreage, but nobody ever uses that parcel, so.
Right. So,
Sorry, I wasn't sure if, did you have more?
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
yeah, okay, she's eating up her time now.
All right, 3-3 chart, land use table. Conversion of seasonal dwelling to single household dwelling. Village core sort of has its own rule. I don't think that's appropriate for the village core.
Sorry, where are you? 3-3 what?
Seasonal. or-
Seasonal, yeah.
Table on 3-3?
Yep. table
Seasonal
on 3-3,
dwelling and seasonal.
Conversion of
conversion.
seasonal dwelling.
Conversion of seasonal dwelling.
Right, so-
What?
Well-
Village core.
Right, so you were adding seasonal dwelling, it's not in the chart in the book, but it was on the list. So basically you're adding seasonal dwelling, conversions to pretty much all of it.
She's talking about village core though.
Just village core.
Just village.
Right.
core.
That's just my take on it.
He's lost.
3-3, the table.
The table, honey.
Yeah,
It's on
Page
page 3-3.
3-3.
and it's dwelling seasonal and then conversion of seasonal dwelling
Right below
Yeah.
it.
right below it.
Yeah.
There's no red ones in there, but all of those spaces should have had red Ps in them.
Oh,
I just, it's an error on when I did this.
that's why.
So they should all be Ps, not just the LF and LV?
Right, because
Right,
Suzanne's
that's what
questioning,
you did.
All the way across.
unless village core should be.
Oh, right.
Susanna's questioning village core.
Right.
And then my next one is on the next page.
Oh, do we want to fix that?
Well, I was gonna say, before we go
All
on,
right.
does anybody care if we remove that from village court? No, okay, we're good there, Susanna.
Do we wanna create more seasonal dwellings? That's my question, outside of the lakefront, Lakeview area.
I don't
I don't think
frankly it's gonna happen.
I don't think it
I
does
don't
matter.
think- But I don't think there's a problem with it. I mean, if somebody
think
buys a
it's
lot and wants to have a seasonal dwelling there, they're paying
I
taxes.
just wanna put that out there.
Yeah,
It's gonna
they're
wanna-
paying
They've
taxes.
gotta go through all of the regulations for it anyway.
Question on that, the hunting camp, would that be a seasonal dwelling? Anyway,
No, because you're not sleeping in it.
Hunting
Well,
camps, you don't have to have bathrooms.
Right.
Flush toilets.
They might, but they don't have to.
Oh, okay, so that's the
Wastewater,
difference.
there's a whole different,
okay.
yeah, whole
All
different.
right.
They might, but they
Set of
don't
rules.
have to. Okay, next, Susanna,
Brew pub
what,
on the next page, 3,
Group
4,
up, yeah.
yes,
on lakefront. I feel like we have very little lakefront,
Lakeview.
you know, they can go on the other side of the street, but I just feel like our lakefront is, we only have so much of it and putting in.
So the only reason I think they put that on was because they put in a marina. If you put in a marina, a lot of times you put a building with it and a lot of times you have a bar.
But is that the same as a brew pub or is that a restaurant? Cause we have
Brew pub is like, you
Yeah.
go in and
restaurant.
Mill River Brew Pub
We have
Mill River.
restaurants,
is a perfect example, brewery, brew pub, something like that.
but it's not a place. Yeah.
14 Star,
No, they're high users of water and high users, or high producers of waste and
That's a brewery.
that's a brewery.
Well, I'm supposed to brew.
But yeah, and
No,
I
the
agree.
group just sells.
A brew pub is just kind of a restaurant pub that,
Yeah,
Well, I believe as I defined them, they also brew on the premises.
Yeah,
They
so
brew on
there,
the premises
there's
and
gotta be a
have a
difference
restaurant
between
bar.
restaurant and brew pub or we wouldn't
I
have
will
them
double
both in
check
here.
that.
well, I don't know. There's-
Well, let's look at our little chart of what they.
I agree, as far as I know, a brew pub, they can or brew,
Yeah.
brew on site.
But all of it has to go through the regular
Okay.
process of water, and they can't go in unless they can meet the standard.
Brew pub manufactures and sells beer.
I'm still okay with it.
Yeah,
I'm,
look at the definitions, it's right there.
Alright, now I'm switching documents.
so.
I don't, you bet it,
I don't think-
they have to go through the process.
Yeah.
3-6.
So 3-6 cemetery.
did we say that was, is that regulated under the state now or something? Is
It's
that
all
why?
state right.
It is.
Yeah.
I would say cemetery state
It
road.
does.
State tells you where you can put a cemetery and where you can't, your town.
That can't you
No.
bury somebody on
You
your.
can bury someone in your yard.
Well, you can't have a cemetery, but you can do vertical burial.
Right, but you can, I don't,
Could have done that 100 years ago.
but,
The idea-
but they have created where you can, they have the natural burials now. I think that's all part of the state regulations now, is the natural burials, I believe. Cause there is a place, I just.
I know,
saw
but
recently about
so a
that.
town can't say where cemeteries can be and where they can't be, so you could set up a cemetery down on the lakefront? I mean,
Sure,
I guess.
scenic view.
I don't know if anybody would,
Quiet.
Good.
the finances don't quite work out, I don't think.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think someone's gonna give a lakefront.
maybe a site cemetery,
It's
site
like,
cemetery.
well, maybe.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, so.
worrying about where a cemetery goes is probably the least of our concern
Okay.
for the town of Georgia.
So
That's
my
my
next question
opinion.
is Parking facility, they all have 13 as their little designated thingy there, or
Yeah,
whatever,
13.
nope. And that says parking facility uses shall not be located within 40 feet of the edge of the public right of way in the village core. Well, why do all those other districts need that note?
Valid point.
They don't.
They don't.
They don't,
Yeah,
Catch that one, Doug?
they don't.
I didn't catch that, so I'm like.
I'm not taking notes on this one, Doug, so this is all you. Okay, what you got next?
317 gets confusing because Doug's notes are on the backside of the page.
What,
Uh,
sorry?
317.
Thank you.
I'm still in my old book.
So this is the legally registered recreation vehicle.
And it's full.
So the new statement says. Such use does not conflict with any provisions of these regulations or any applicable regulation. But earlier in the regulations, you changed. That you don't have to follow the stricter regulation, you could follow the lesser regulation, so. Does this conflict with what you changed earlier? Says you follow the lesser regulation.
On that note, I apologize. I just got this list of changes, proposed changes yesterday. So I'm still dissecting it, but there were a couple of items in here that jumped out at me that I wanted to review with you at some point. Because either I'm not sure of the legality of them, or I'm not sure if they'll trip us up because they're not really in conformity with the town plan. The first one was that change about changing if there's a conflict within these regulations or with other regulations, instead of saying the stricter shall apply, the less strict shall apply. I believe that there's a problem with making that change. That language that we have in here right now is pretty standard. You find it in almost every zoning code. If we change it to the lesser shall apply, we open up a potential issue where someone would be able to say, perhaps it says in this section, it says, oh, I have to have a parking lot. And over in this section, also relating to, that's not brought up at all. They might have a legal standing to be like, well, that's the lesser restriction. I don't have to do anything. And that's what potentially sets you up to be in a weird position where you can't figure out it basically nullifies anything.
Oh, right.
Everything. So, that's why it's done that way. And so that was one of the first ones I wanted to point out as being something I would recommend against Georgia. I think I understand what you guys are getting at, but it's really just supposed to
Makes sense.
resolve conflicts where the code is saying two separate things. We want to basically try and avoid that.
So I think I'm good with stricter.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
But then that takes care of this other problem because they want.
See, 2 for 1.
Got that changed, Doug?
I got it.
Yeah.
Doug, I had one when we were going through here. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
318. We had a discussion about this. Your number 3. It's your notes and your rewrite.
3-18.
What's the description?
Yeah, the description.
Recreational vehicle?
Oh, the recreational vehicle?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that came right.
Remember when I gave you the scenario of, somebody who puts a camper and then they haul their sewage away, with one of the poly tanks, and then they bring their water to it. You have failure to drive the RV off the lot for filling water holding tank and emptying the wastewater holding tank.
That comes right directly.
But you understand what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying that comes
But
directly from me.
I think that you're saying that one of the, if now, it'll apply, you can't do it if even one of these. Right, so if you took that out, it doesn't hurt you.
A&R still has it.
Oh, they do,
Yeah, it's I pulled this right from their regs.
okay.
But I have a question though. So we have a couple RVs that are sitting down on Georgia Shore. Well, I can think of 2 that I just drove by the other day.
Yep.
That I noticed. How does this impact that? But they're already existing, so they won't be or are not, right, in compliance.
You're living in the winter in an RV, which is fairly common now. You're gonna put a skirt around it. You're gonna put some
No, I
insulation
understand
around it.
that.
And this says as soon as you skirt it, it becomes a structure.
Right,
Okay.
it's a structure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, when it comes to structure, you have to meet you have to get a building permit, you have to meet
Yeah.
the structural requirements of that.
And the reason they're living in an RV is because they can't afford that, you know? So.
Maybe.
Maybe,
I'd say.
could be a choice. Okay, but anyway.
Good.
You good?
Yeah, that's what,
So before Susanna's, Michael, you wanna address the other ones that you have a larger concern about?
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
And that
Purpose
might,
of this meeting is to hear from the public, so I want to make sure we get them.
if you have concerns, I'd rather hear that, so that might answer some of Susanna's questions, because I think the rest of the public is pretty good. Just wanna make sure I'm giving everybody an opportunity. So
Okay.
you might answer some of Susanna's.
Okay, well,
Concerns.
just really quickly, page 2-18,
Keep going backwards.
In on your field.
page 2-18, purpose of district, I think this is the, new business hamlet district in which we are sitting in currently, 218.
Yeah.
The proposed edit was to say the allowable uses in this area are focused more on smaller local businesses, shop services, and residential living while avoiding larger auto-centric uses such as shopping plazas, car washes, drive-throughs, sales lots, and vehicles for heavy equipment sales. The edit was to remove car washes and drive-throughs from that description. I would hazard against that, because specifically in the town plan, we mention, and I can pull that up. just in the town plan, which we just adopted, those two uses are listed as things that we were going to prohibit in the business hamlet area. And that came from a lot of back and forth negotiating with the planning commission and regional planning and so forth. So I feel that would be a direct conflict with the plan, and I could read the.
Why was that pulled out?
Cause regional planning didn't want the increased traffic that they.
Right,
Because of some of the land use changes we were pursuing, they were concerned about strip development along.
Yeah, no, I
70.
that was me.
And-
I just don't think we should restrict it, but if it
No.
contradicts what we've already approved, then I think we have to leave it in.
There's a certain amount of wiggle room and interpretation involved in
Yeah,
determining if a plan meets, but that's kind of a direct one.
Agreed.
Agreed.
So that,
So we'll keep.
Not a big deal.
the use table
Well,
get tweaked.
Yes, that comes up also. That would be reflected also in the use table.
Once we add it.
Also,
Conflict with that one.
so we also have the car wash, motor vehicle sales. And restaurant drive-through in those. I think that's where those come in. The other one I wasn't sure about was just deleting the building height in the industrial district. I feel like we should have some height, and I mean, there are exceptions in the code for certain things such as, you know, farm silos and telecommunication towers, energy towers. Having no building height, I wasn't sure if we wanted to.
I was just thinking Perigo.
yeah.
We already have.
But I
What's the
think-
height of Perigo? I mean, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a couple hundred feet.
Yeah, that was a big issue when
So-
we first.
And it's our industrial district.
Yeah, I don't
But I
know.
thought we had
I
a,
mean,
an
I'd be
exception
okay
for
with
like the dryer that they wanted to build.
Yeah.
Have a,
Well, they did then, the problem is now the code now wouldn't allow for that,
Right, and I don't
And
want to
they're-
limit it.
because we don't.
They're gonna be
You took the
replaced
exception
now,
out?
right?
Right,
And they would be replaced now if they're leaving,
correct.
right?
And they were able, I mean, they just had a situation down there and they were able to handle it. So. Then we're probably
When
gonna,
you say situation, Doug, what can we make of that?
there was a fire down there
I go 6 weeks.
Yeah,
that they were able to handle, and that was on the tower that
Right,
our
it
ladder
was a
truck
drying
can't
unit.
reach.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's another reason. Fire department doesn't like stuff they can't reach, but.
Yeah.
right,
They managed it.
And then a big one, when we get to the planned unit development section, there was,
What page?
oh, sorry, this would be page 6-22, section 3.
Did we make a decision on the industrial?
I'm not gonna, I wouldn't,
I don't want to limit what they
I
can do.
don't, in our industrial area.
yeah.
Okay, there's-
I don't think we would, I mean, it's gotta go through site plan anyway.
Right.
622.
Additional uses.
they have to get an okay from the.
yeah, we haven't adjusted
Yeah.
typically from them, so, yeah.
Okay, so we're
Sorry,
good
6-22.
The way it is. then,
with
right?
nothing.
Nothing. right.
Yep.
Legal requirements for open space land, right now, as written, the code reads, the future use of the open space lot shall be protected in perpetuity. The proposed change was, I believe, to change that to in perpetuity or no less than 15 years. That opens up a huge legal door. I'm not even positive that's legal. I'd have to check, but if we're granting somebody a bonus of saying, we'd like you to, you've got this much land, we'd like you to compact it in this area and protect this area over here, and we're giving you a density bonus, they'd be able to take care of that, take advantage of that density bonus, get now, you know, maybe 200% the amount of units that they would be able to get, and then 15 years later, take that land back and now develop it. And so they got the cake and they eat it too, I guess. I'm not even sure that's legal in how that works as far as Open Space Conservancy.
So what
So,
was the thing you're objecting to is the 15 years?
yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be, it's the land in perpetuity, to say we can get it back in 15 years.
Yeah,
They'd be robbing us blind, so, the benefit of PUDs is that you can get the same amount of development that they would be able to normally, maybe even in some cases with these bonuses, get more. And in return, we're taking that land which would have gotten developed and we can keep it open space. We lose the benefit. So,
Who loses the benefit?
we as in the town, if.
Why does the town lose benefit? If I do a PUD right now,
Right,
okay, and let's say I have to set aside 15 acres. Okay, I can keep that as my lane.
Yes.
That's my land. I don't have to allow anybody on that PUD on that 15 acres. I have to set it aside, but I don't have to allow anybody on it.
But
It's my land.
it may
Right,
be
yeah,
protecting a
you do have to
viewshed, it may
you have
be
to allow
allowing
everybody in.
wildlife corridors, there's a lot of habitat, you know, there's other benefits to the town other than using it. Right? It may be providing a farm field. You know,
I mean, ideally. it's
deer
doing something like-
habitat, there's a whole lot of things that it could be doing that benefits everybody because we want to see wildlife. We wanna see open fields or patches of woods, not just house. You know, you wanna see that, go to Wilton.
Sorry about that.
So, you know, I'm not saying that
It's too-
you have to open it up to people, but it benefits the town by having that space not developed.
And you are using the same amount of space, so it's not like the open space is less than. So you're using, the acreage that you're using was what is required for that zone. So if you take 10 acres, that's 2 acre zoning, you're only doing 5 houses clustered, but it's 2 acre zoning, so you're still using the 2 acres.
The train of thought on that is that there are other states that do this type of thing. Because their foresight is that in the future down the road, instead of nabbing more land, they end up with the land that's already been set aside, it comes up again. And it can now, you may end up with a development that has 15 acres around it and the development would then be able to continue after 15 years. You don't know what's gonna happen in 15 years and that's.
Right, I get that, I understand that, I know there'll probably be more development.
Right, so.
I
what-
just hate to give it away again 15 years, I mean, what's the
Well,
point
we-
of conserving it if we're gonna give it away again in 15 years?
Yeah, I don't, I'm not,
Seeing the 15 years either.
They added that in.
They added that
That's
in.
it's in the note.
On the.
You gotta look at the notes.
If you look on the screen, it's
Yeah, I have it up on the
in
screen.
perpetuity for no less than 15 years.
Cause I could see, I mean,
Yeah.
once that's inserted, no one's gonna do it in perpetuity, everyone's just gonna say, oh, well, it says I have to do it for 15 years, we're just gonna do, the minimum becomes the maximum and.
Yeah.
That's all people are gonna do.
Then if you had that 15 acres of open land, then you had to preserve, and then 15 years later, you take that 15 acres and do another PUD. And then
But then it'll be down to half acre.
10 acres,
lots.
yeah, then you have 10 acres left, and then
Put a
15 years
lot
later, you do a PUD on that 10 acres.
I mean, I can do some research, I'm not aware of the other states that have the, like, sort of
Look in Mass-
timeout period.
Look in Mass and Connecticut and
Um,
different places in the southern New England.
Okay, interesting, but. I'm not, I guess that would be. Part of the main theme that came out of the town plan was people were very much interested in keeping the same rural character and natural beauty of the area. And the theme was to try and maintain that as much as possible, so I don't wanna do things in here that are gonna weaken that.
Well, it's all how you're looking at it, from which angle you look at,
Right.
right? You know, in 15 years. You know, you're grabbing more open land if somebody decides to
Where
sell.
did 15 years come from? Is that it?
It's common in some other states that do
Okay,
conservation of land.
all right, so somebody else's.
Yes, yeah. And they had different aspects to it, 15s, 20, 25, 30.
Well, if it was like a variable rate loan or something, where if it's only 15 years, we're only gonna give them this much benefit, but if
Similar to
it's
that.
30 years, maybe we'll give them a bigger bonus. Then maybe I could see something like that working. I'm not sure we would wanna grant density bonuses and stuff like that if they could just turn around and develop the land again in 15 years. There has to be like a two-way street, so I could take another look at that, but I would just caution the board to think about that.
What if we made that length of time longer than 15 years? Would that make more sense?
Well,
If you did
do the
a
research.
generation.
Right,
you
a
know,
generational thing.
Yeah, so, you know, the farmer has
Moved on.
25, yeah, and 25 years later, or
It's still a benefit to the family, or could be, to redevelop the land.
Right.
Yeah,
Without taking,
So how does that
More
work
land.
for all the ones that already exist?
what we're
Well,
doing,
they-
that happens every time you redo
Those
regulations.
deeds are
I
already
mean,
filed.
that stuff
That's
happens,
permanent
it
land,
just
right?
happens.
I mean, they would have to,
Can find anything quick.
you would have to have the entire development come in to do a site plan amendment. I guess it would be possible that all of them would have to agree to doing it.
Right.
it would,
To change the deeds.
that's unlike,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Pay
don't-
the fee and all agree, not likely. Okay,
So are we?
So I think, oh, sorry, those are the ones I definitely wanted to cover with
So
you
what
guys
what
right
are we
now.
doing with that?
Yeah.
25, 30,
Taking it out?
I would be okay with 25.
well, I think we
That's
have
the
to do a little more
generation.
research and have Michael look at,
Well,
I-
that's what
yeah.
you just asked, what are we doing with it, so.
you know, Susanna asked. what-
Oh.
Yeah, I
Well,
he
personally
did.
would like to do a little more research.
Okay.
If
If you
that's
can get
okay.
back to us before,
Yeah.
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 Definitely in like the next couple of days.
Whatever Doug's
Yeah.
deadline is.
but we're looking at possibility of 25 years, right?
sounds like. he's-
Based on, well.
25 to life.
Yeah,
25 delay.
Michael Jeff.
25, I won't care by then.
Someone else will.
That's kind of the point of it.
All right, my next question's on 613.
Sticks. Oh, we're going backwards again.
It's not my fault, you asked Michael to.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
okay.
did you have, Michael, did you have any more?
No, he was.
no, I just said that was,
Oh,
that was
okay.
what I
That was
wanted.
all.
6:30.
Yep. I was on it, Brian.
Thank you.
I don't know what it is. A5 was proposed land development shall not result in an undue adverse effect on the utilization of renewable energy resources, and I believe the state mandates that you can't say that it doesn't. You know, if your neighbor's got solar panels on their roof and you build a 200-foot building that blocks their sun, that's against the law according to the state. So I think that one needs to stay in there.
Doug or Michael, do you know?
I have not come across that anywhere, so I'm not sure about that one.
What Suzanne is saying is correct. I think they do have provision against that. I haven't used that terminology before. But it seems to be saying the same thing. Shall not result in an undue adverse effect on the utilization of renewable energy. That's a long-winded way of saying it, but yeah,
But does that mean that your neighbor that doesn't have solar panels, but does,
I mean,
I'm
build
thinking
your
about-
power.
I'm thinking
before they-
about putting solar panels in, you can't do that over there?
Build yours before they build
I
theirs.
don't know, I asked the question.
Oh, because of the way it's worded, it doesn't say existing
Right.
renewable
Yeah,
energy,
right.
it says on the utilization of renewable energy, so.
Oh, if you mean like.
Yeah, that's
you-
right.
Yes.
Perhaps you could just change it and say.
Utilization of existing.
Renewable.
Existing, yeah. Okay.
Yep. Good with it. Got that one, Doug?
These are,
My guess is with setbacks and our height requirements
Right,
it wouldn't come into play.
right, unless you're next to the
it
industrial.
really depends on the lay of the land. Possibility, kind of like where you put your outdoor boiler and which way the smoke's gonna go on.
Could get in conflict with a forest management plan, somebody wanted. to Plant a forest, okay, next to this too, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah, that works. Okay, what else you got, Suzanne?
So all I got.
What?
All.
What?
Didn't even mark for your kidding, further to pull out more, but.
So, okay,
Crap.
anyone else with public comment? Going once, going twice.
Wait
Oh.
a minute.
Oh, wait.
Wait, you went the bathroom.
Oh.
Yes, that thing does that.
You do? Okay, we're holding.
Okay, I have a question now. None of these changes are
No, we don't
considered
know
to
what any of
be
this stuff.
major changes?
No, they
it's gonna
are.
come back again in
Oh,
August.
okay.
It's gonna come back
So
again.
there is another.
That's why I said it had to meet, Michael needed to meet Doug's
Okay.
timeline.
That's what I,
So that
Is
if
not
you make
her.
that.
But I
change,
handed
then-
Doug my book with all my sticky notes on it beforehand.
should never end for you, because you might lose it.
You've
and then
been
I'll say,
spotlighted, my
no,
friend.
Did you have any?
You double check me, trust me.
Any comments, sir?
We love it here.
Any comments?
Perfect. Any comments online?
Nothing online.
Okay, hearing none, I will close this hearing. Any, further discussion from the select board? Oh, you didn't have any comments? All right, so, next steps for finalizing and adopting, Doug.
So we need to make these changes into the book, come out with a 2.5 or whatever.
I'm gonna do it, this next version's gonna be 3.0.
3.0.
That'd be it.
That's gonna be it.
You want
Version
2.4 or 3.0?
This is, there are big changes in here, so.
Yeah.
3.0. Sorry,
So then we'd have to do the same warning process that we did for this one, so it'll be 15 days. You guys have to give me a date that you wanna do a meeting, so.
Well, why don't we try to figure that out?
Let's do it right now.
Okay.
Right?
Has to be, how
So
many,
it'll
15
be,
days?
let's say, anytime after the 20th. I have, yeah, because I have to be able to fit the messenger's
Yeah.
print schedule, so.
When's your, oh, you don't wanna do it on your regular meeting?
no.
So the week of
We've got
August
an
25th?
11th, but the week of the 20th, don't have.
Well, I don't wanna do it right now.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It has to be after the 20th.
It has to be after the
Yeah,
20th.
and we've got a select board meeting, I believe, on the
20th,
25th.
Right,
Oh.
so,
And at that point, you should just be approving it, I
Yeah.
would think.
So this is so the 28th,
do you wanna do Thursday
Which
or
one?
Wednesday?
I don't like Thursday nights.
you don't like Thursday night?
We're gone.
So on Thursday, the 28th, are you here on the 27th?
We are.
Okay, 27th.
That work?
It will.
Yeah.
We're getting up at like 4 a.m.
There's a thing on the green.
Can we get this place on the August 27th?
Oh, is it, yeah,
Uh,
the concert on the green?
Concert on the
No.
green on that, I have written in here.
Oh, there is?
I don't have it on
No,
my.
not right
calendar.
now.
is that a Wednesday?
Wednesday.
night.
Yeah.
What we're talking about, August 27th.
I don't have a contract.
Oh, I thought they said Thursday.
No, Brian's not here.
Brian's not here.
Okay,
So-
Wednesday is a concert on the green.
The 27th?
It's either that or the 26th, Tuesday the
26th.
26th or Wednesday the
Well, you
27th.
would have food and music for your.
Right, we had music.
Maybe popcorn.
If we do six,
Right?
if we do 6 on the 27th, we can walk over and have burgers and fries and stuff after.
Or we could be here and they'd be shutting.
Do
it
it,
down.
do it Tuesday. It's our
Let's do
planning
it
meeting
Tuesday.
night and we won't have a meeting, so.
Yeah, so let's do
No, let's do it Tuesday then.
Okay,
So what time?
Hold on,
Tuesday, 26th.
hold on.
There's gonna be having some.
He'll be here. I won't be here.
should we just have?
I'll be here.
It'll be the day after.
That's good. Come
Okay.
with some comment, okay?
What for, too?
Do you?
Twenty-
Yeah.
If you bring the
Did-
popcorn,
we
there's my
usually have too much to do.
Yeah.
We could have a really late meeting on the 25th if everybody's up for that, or.
I think we do.
Carl's like, no, no. Carl's like, no.
Separate day.
Yeah. Agree. I agree.
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear anything, okay.
I already wrote it in.
So the 26th
At
at
6,
6.
Sure.
Yeah.
Here?
Someone may have to go at the order besides me, but I will.
fire station.
Yeah.
I'll be late. Doesn't matter. You need to be here.
Why
I
are
don't
you
have-
gonna be late?
I have a hair appointment that day.
Well, I
I'm
have,
looking
I have
good.
a massage that night. Okay, anyway.
All right, Tuesday the 26th, 6 p.m. at the fire station.
Yeah.
We're done.
Do I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Wait a minute, there's some
Oh,
discussion.
They have something to say not about the reg.
Oh, not about the regs? Okay, sorry.
Well, no,
We have a motion on the floor, but
the regs are okay, I just had something to say, I thought something was,
Okay.
talked about on the acreage thing, for Georgia Shore, about, building lot sizes.
Yes.
Tonight, and so I misunderstood when I
No,
came in.
no, you got the right. That is
You're here.
correct.
yeah, that's part of
You're
the
here.
regs, yeah.
Right.
Tell us what you want.
Okay, wait, can
Oh, I
we,
just need this much.
So, so anyways,
Andrew Popcorn,
I talked to Doug earlier on the phone, and he said that if the board may be looking at possibly the lot sizes down there, how they were measured years ago.
Oh, yeah, we did not have that conversation.
Okay, wait,
I
wait.
rescind my motion to
Thank you.
adjourn.
So.
wait,
I would thank you very much.
I forgot all about that, Doug.
hold on, Doug, though, I closed the public hearing,
Just reopen it.
I'll make a motion to reopen
thank
the
you.
public hearing on the zoning regulations, the new zoning regulations.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion from the select board? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now,
I'm sorry about. the
No, you're
thing.
fine, you're
No,
fine,
no,
thank you.
no, you're
We're
good,
Talking about something
we
else.
just had to make sure we did the,
Oh, it's a huge document and what you're
Yes.
talking about, is a little piece of it. you know?
yes.
Okay.
My name is Stephen Dunham, this is my wife Corinne, we live at 2769 Georgia Shore Road. Okay, and what we're looking at is we have a lot right now that's 0.87 acres, okay? And my wife has been diagnosed with an illness and she's gonna need in-home care shortly. And my daughter has agreed to do that, would like to, and my daughter would like to build a house on the property. Of course, we don't have the required full acre lot to subdivide. So we wondered if at all possible, Doug brought up this remeasurement of, you know, the old way of measuring. You know, possibly giving us a full acre so we can subdivide and build a house.
So
What
this is,
about ADU? Can you just do ADU?
No,
Well, the problem with ADU is my daughter would be building it and she would probably have to be financing. And the ADU is tied into the deed, would be tied into our deed. And
There are reasons.
it would run into ball problems with financing and possible inheritance later on. Because we have more than one
So
child.
is it a 1 acre lot on the tax map?
I thought it was
No,
half.
so
Used to be 40,000 square feet.
Yes.
That's the problem.
So that's where the problem.
that's where the problem, they went from a square foot,
0.87.
square foot to acre. It messed up,
You remember.
and so we have lots, so. And my recommendation is that anything 0.8 would be going up to the next acreage, so, cause there's like 2.8s.
How many lots are we talking about? that
There's
are
quite a few,
1.8, 2.8.
yeah, there are quite a few in town that are like
Yeah.
this.
Not just down.
It was a Georgia
No,
zoning.
It was, the zoning changed,
Because ours is
so everything that was made then was done by the square foot, not by the acre. And so when you transfer it, it doesn't equal the acreage, but it was supposed, it meant the acreage at the time.
Was
It's just because Georgia changed.
So are
Was
you
the
thinking?
intent for?
Yes.
0.87 was the intent to be a 1 acre lot?
Yes,
Yeah.
that
Well, then
was
we
the
should
intent.
fix that.
It was
Right.
it was a zoning acre as opposed to.
Because that was
We
like
should
ours.
fix that.
Yes, that's why it should
Well, I
have been
think
in here.
most of the problems will go away.
Mike's rubbing his forehead,
Yeah.
he's
I
humming.
tried this in other communities where they
Well,
had the
because
same thing,
one
they had
per acre, 2
40,000
lots.
square feet
Right.
for an acre for years, and then they changed it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you know, this sucks, we wanna fix it, put it back, it causes a whole slew of problems with pre-existing issues.
So what are you thinking? Saying just simply anything that ends in 0.80 for acreage on a lot
It's rounded.
That
will
was
be rounded?
That was pre-existing a certain.
That was pre-existing to,
Right.
This
You
right
agree with
going
this,
in.
Michael? I mean, I think it solves problems.
I'm a numbers guy, I'd rather have it be
I
the
get it.
actual number.
I get
yeah,
I agree with your assessment, you know, this is like a reverse baker's dozen.
yeah.
Right,
It does cause some issues, but I think if you exempt certain properties that pre-existing a certain date. That were created, you know, based on that system, that we grant them an exemption or something of. Basically treat them like a 1 acre
I
lot for
think
the
that's a
purposes
fair
of the
thing to
zone.
do.
Could I
So
say something?
can you just explain what the unintended consequences of doing that are? That
Uh,
you could think of off the top of your head.
Basically, it starts to make, half the properties in town, pre-existing non-conforming. So if you say, okay, we're now an acre is 43,760 whatever feet, now the people that are just barely below that aren't really an acre now, are pre-existing non-conforming, they can't build out, they can't do stuff with their property. You get a slew of new variances that come in. It just, when they go to sell their house, it trips them up in the whole review of the legal deed system, like somebody's gonna say, well, you're not gonna, here's a pre-existing non-conforming lot, you're gonna have problems doing stuff, it scares off buyers. It's not a huge deal, but it's just a kind of a hornet's nest of.
But
an
to fix it,
extension.
we gotta pick a time to fix it.
Well, I think
But that-
if you set it now as being today's, like, as of today,
Quick, somebody get a subdivision in.
you. If you set it
Oh, no.
as of today, and then when we do that, when we make this fix, if somebody came in to subdivide, that is in the decision that. This is now creating this lot is now considered an acre. When they come through the subdivision process, we can put the language in the decision that fixes this going forward. So it would be considered an acre lot. You know, if it was whatever it works out to be, but we can put that language in there so that it's clear moving forward, cause when they come back in later on, or they come back for that, we always go back to that decision, which is a legal document. And it would clarify that situation. I would just make sure we add that to it.
So
This gentleman had a comment. Well, I just thought most of these lots, looking at the land maps are measured plus or minus. Anyways.
On tax land, to see the plus and minus,
Yeah, yep.
that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of surveys done that way.
Huh?
A lot of surveys are done that.
Yeah,
way.
no, I get it.
And the old
I think we should
measurement
fix
lots.
Yeah, I think we should fix
I
it.
think so too.
Oh, sorry.
Were really
Yeah,
just, you know.
we don't even know how those
Right.
came out to be.
Like,
Yeah, it looks like about this.
Can you
So Doug,
put that in?
how do we fix it? So what do you need from
It
us
needs
in
to
order to
So
fix it?
basically, we're gonna put something in the regs that just says to that, you know, as of this date. Anything that was 0.8 or greater would be next up, and then we'll have to make sure that. In the subdivision section, we would add language that would say, in that decision, we would make sure that that's in there.
Can you make sure that when you put that in there,
Yep.
that the part of that is a small history stip on why this is occurring?
I think that's important.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that no matter 20 years now, somebody reads a
And they're
reg,
like,
or
what?
they go, oh, I get it. Somebody was an idiot and thought an acre was 40,000 square feet.
Right.
And they decided that that's what we're gonna do for a
Is math
while. And these
different?
guys figured out that we shouldn't be.
People just got lazy, they like round numbers.
Just take care of your problem.
What's that?
It should.
Maybe, I don't know exactly if it does, but it might.
I think it
It'll
sounds like.
help.
It,
sounds like
it
a lot.
puts the steps in the right direction to
Yeah.
fix it.
I appreciate you.
This has come up quite a few times.
No, I'm glad you brought it, cause I.
We had this conversation.
We sparked on that
Talked about this,
conversation,
I
and
forgot
cause
about
we
it.
Oh,
remember
the other one is
when
that
this was
email
going
from Ken.
on.
But
I can pull that up. You
So
do?
I forgot about an email from Ken, which I sent to Doug. Doug
Oh,
was supposed to keep me in line.
Oh.
Doug, you had a lot of hats to wear tonight.
Okay, so from Ken Mink, I have, hi K and D. Colleen and Doug, I'm guessing. I have
I know,
concerns
it's
about the
crazy.
1 acre proposal on Route
Why
7. The
couldn't
state
you?
guidance for well septic separation is 50 to 100 feet. For example, a 200 square foot lot is about 40,000 square feet.
Where's that number?
Taking out the setbacks, the lot size is now 130 feet deep by 160 feet wide. While that seems like ample space, if a mound systems are required, I don't think the required separation would be available. The soils north of the village are not sandy. I can't make the meeting on the 31st, but please enter this note into the records. 2 acre lots make more sense.
You can't do it if you can't do it.
That's kind of
There you
the
go.
answer. It's if the septic is all handled by the state.
Yeah, if you can't do it, you can't do it.
About it, right.
I don't care how, what
Your
your
lot
lot
could be
size is.
5 acres and it's not gonna matter.
Yeah, right, not gonna matter.
Okay, any further comments?
So what did you end up doing with the whole 40,000 square foot thing?
Doug,
We're
we're
gonna
gonna
add it, that's
a grandfathering provision, in the code for those lots which were.
Yeah.
Simplified zoning.
Yeah.
acre. Yes, a Georgia zoning, a Georgia acre, what was that?
Yeah. so
Yeah,
Georgia
with the
acre.
history.
No, it's a Georgia acre versus a zoning.
No, it was a zoning acre.
Zoning versus zoning.
A Georgia zoning acre versus an actual
Yeah,
acre.
which is crazy.
Which is- Hey, we're unique in Georgia.
I guess.
So that will allow
Take
some of the
some of
properties
the-
to
not
actually
the only
become
guy
free lots.
Come across this and do other.
You're killing us. I said you were unique and you're
I'm
taking it
stuck.
away from us.
Those communities were wiped out in floods.
Perfect. All right, any,
Too bad for that.
More than popcorn next time.
any further comments,
Oh,
concerns?
that'd be good,
Would
yeah.
anyone like to make, oh, actually, I'll close the public hearing, take two. And then would anyone like to make a motion to close, end the meeting?
I would make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Right. Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'm glad you spoke up, because we would.
Yeah.
We would.